Now it's time for something different. We're taken to the skies for a brand new event in the Scottish paragliding calendar.
It's the first time we've done this event, so we're trying to learn. So any feedback you can give us to help us try and improve would be really, really appreciated. But the most important thing is for all of you and all of us to have fun, fly safe and enjoy the competition.
The X-Scotia is held over 2 days, but some of the very best pilots may complete the course in one marathon session. The event is based around Loch Tay in rural Perthshire, and competitors fly from 3 surrounding mountains: Tarmachan, Ben More and Ben Vorlich. But there's a catch. They have to race up the hills with all their gear before they can fly off, and each competitor must be entirely self-sufficient, carrying everything they need to survive both on land and in the air.
Once you've left here, you have left here, and the task will be valid until it finishes. So in that respect, you need to make your own decision. If you perceive anything that appears Q-nimish, then take appropriate action. In that respect, you are free flying because we don't have an adequate communication system to communicate that to you.
The start and finish point of the event is Loch Head, and one of the few rules is that no one can be airborne after 10 p.m. The estimated distance is 62 kilometres, and they must fly off those 3 Munros. And this is a hardcore event. The competitors will be sleeping out, and some might even be tempted to walk through the night to get an early morning flight off a summit. Day 1 of the race, and 27 hardy souls make their final preparations for the long, heavily laden trudge up the hills, before, hopefully, the reward of some great flying. And the skill isn't just in the paragliding. The competitors choose which order they'll climb the hills in.
We've got very light winds today, so certainly to start with, there's not going to be much flying. The first turn point, the one behind us just here, is the closest, so some competitors I think will probably be planning on running up and getting that one, coming back down and going along to one of the second turn points and trying to get there for when the best flying conditions happen.
We're just going to head along, and there's a path that goes up to Ben More, so follow the path up, and hopefully it should be working by the time we get up there. It's going to launch off and hopefully get some distance before we land.
Oh, this is a steep hill.
This is the uphill bit.
Yep. I've now got a revised strategy. I'm trying to get to Ben More, so hopefully get some flyable conditions from Ben More. And I know a lot of people are going along the road. I'm just thinking I'm going to walk up the back here and hopefully go over the area towards the back and find out if it works later on.
I see there's some cloud coming in, so this might clag us in and may end up having to walk further down the hill before we can get off. But fingers crossed anyway.
We expect the best weather for flying today to be sometime between 2 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. So the canny competitor is going to be the one that gets themselves into the best position to fly, because the further you can fly, the more efficient that is and the better chance you've got of winning the event. I think we've got some racing snakes who've turned up, some pretty fit and keen guys, obviously trained, carrying really light kit. And we expect, I would look at them and expect the first competitors potentially to be back late tonight, sort of 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Certainly the weather is starting to break now, so I'd expect the thermal activity to improve. So I think there's a good chance of some reasonable flying today. Some of the fit ones get themselves into a good position to take advantage of the good flying conditions later on. I think we could see somebody back in goal later on today. We've got, 27 competitors here, off and running. Now what we've got to do is make sure that we get 27 people back at the end of the day, all of having a good time.
My plan for this morning didn't go very well, and now I'm running a bit behind schedule. I'm pushing to get up Tarmachan before daylight ends.
We'll stop tonight somewhere on the hill.
early tomorrow morning up Ptarmigan and see how we get on, really. If it works up there in the easterly, that'll be fine, but if not, probably fly down here and have another beer before I head home tomorrow night, to be honest.
We haven't heard from people for about sort of 5 or 6 hours. Then we'll probably put a call out on the radio to them, ask other pilots if anyone's seen them. But generally, unless people aren't back by 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and we haven't heard from them, that's when we'd start to get really worried.
We've got 3 main groups of actual flyers. One big group who seem to be stuck on Ben More at the moment. Another group stuck at sort of Balquhidder's area, and one group who are heading up the road to Killin.
And as the light begins to fade, competitors weigh up their day's achievements and work out how much more they can fit in before setting up camp.
Got a flight down to the valley and the mountain just before Ben More, and just a nice one into the valley, about a few clicks down the road, and then packed up, started walking. When I actually got to the top, it was all clouded in, and the weather cleared just in time for the flight, but you can see the odd pilot flying as well, so it's nice seeing that. It's good, but tiring.
It's becoming clear that the leading racers place as much emphasis on tactics as they do on the actual flying.
It's 7:15 on Saturday night. We're looking up at the summit of Ptarmigan, which is turn point 2, which we've always known was going to be the crux of the whole event, or the whole of Saturday anyway. We knew that if we could get to the summit of Ptarmigan with enough time to fly off, then that gave us the whole night to walk back and get set up for Vorlich in the morning. The real fast guys, of course, have done Vorlich already and Ben More, so if they can get off Ptarmigan in time, then they've got the night to walk back and win it.
There's a couple of competitors who've already done Ptarmigan. The one that really stands out is Steve Nash. We haven't heard from him since 6 o'clock, and he was in this location here. We suspect he's probably been over the summit of Ptarmigan and will be making his way back. And we're kind of expecting him to be back here at the campsite before midnight. There's a couple of other competitors, Paul Myerscough, and he was heading for Ben Vorlich, so he's kind of in the frame as well for second, third place.
So furthest round the route as day 1 draws to a close are Steve Nash and Paul Myerscough. Steve spent the last 3 months training for this event. He's determined to win it. But with Paul on his tail, he'll need to put in as much distance as possible today. With most of the paragliders bedding down for the night, we're travelling north again to find out how those hardy souls in the Highland Cross are getting on. Back at Loch Tay, it's 11:20 p.m, and amazingly we have a winner. Steve Nash has just completed the course. He's made it to the summit of all 3 Munros, travelled a total distance of 70 kilometres, and 15 of them were airborne.
Well done, Steve. Congratulations. Fantastic.
Started on Vorlich. It was misty at the top, so I had to come down probably about 100 metres. And then I got a glide right out to the road and then run towards Ben More. I decided to go up the side and try and fly, but the lift was really poor, so I ended up running from well, the best part along the tops then, up to Ben More, flew from the top of Ben More, probably about a third of the way back to Killin then, and then from there just running along the kind of the cycle track all the way through Killin and then Ptarmigan.
Steve's made it back in 15 hours and 42 minutes, but he's only just come in first. Paul Myerscough took a longer route, over 85 kilometres, but that included nearly 25 kilometres of flying. He's just 2 minutes behind Steve, and if he could have flown down from his final summit, he might well have taken first place.
I was looking down, I thought it's misty and it's a bit shadowy in the valleys.
We wondered when you said you were at the summit, we were looking at it thinking you might just get in a flight.
I was in time. I think it was 18 minutes past 9 when I was up there.
Yeah.
And you know, technically you can do it, but
yeah.
I just thought I'm not 100% compass mentis, and it was all getting a little bit sort of shadowy down here.
Yeah.
And,
but if you'd have known,
pushed me luck enough for one day. Home. It's tough. It's really hard going actually. It's funny, nothing prepares you for the events like this. You have it in your mind's eye, or you sort of rattle off all the hills. I mean, I had the first 2 hills done in about half an hour in me sort of head, and then when you've been walking for sort of 3 hours and you're not actually at the bottom of the first one, and then eventually you crack the first one and you come down, you realise how tough the next 2 are going to be.
I knew in the back of my mind that Paul, I'd seen him turning off a track just outside of Killin, and I knew that it was close. As soon as I'd seen him turn, I spent the rest of the time doing mental arithmetic, wondering how fast I could do it against how fast he could do this.
I'm a bit annoyed that the light faded like it did, and it kind of got a bit misty looking down over. Otherwise I could have flown, and I think I'd have been quids in. I should have, you know, minutes to spare. But no, that's the nature of it, isn't it? You know, I got a good flight along from the West Hill, and I'm back right along the valley. So yeah, you win a bit, you lose a bit, and stuff. So I can't grumble really.
Well, for me anyway, there was very little lift. I mean, I've just done 4 top to bottoms. Really difficult.
I thought it'd take about half the time, but it's totally unrealistic, and I knew it was. But I was a bit spurred on by the idea of not wanting to sleep on the hill. I thought, oh, my tent's lovely, and I've got a nice little primer stove and cups of tea and all this, or I can sleep in my wing and it's forecast rain.
So, with the first 2 safely back, the rest are still out on the course. You can keep walking all night if you want, but no one is allowed to fly in the dark.
They can only fly tonight until 10 to 10, then they have to have landed by 10 to 10. And how long they go walking is, well, it's up to them. Weather conditions are better for tomorrow, easterly winds. We would hope that the majority of these pilots here in Killin, if they go up onto Tarmacan, this takes a really nice easterly wind, so we'd expect these people to get some decent flights in, back over Killin, and drop in down into here somewhere. So yeah, hopefully some good flights tomorrow.
For months, it's been touch and go whether this event would quite literally get off the ground. So far, the weekend has been better than anyone anticipated. There have been a few showers, but also some great flying. Czech competitor and currently leading woman Jitka Polikova now lives in Edinburgh. She hasn't any illusions about the Scottish weather.
We'd expect, you know, not that easy weather and quite a lot of walking. Thinking whether we could fly along their range, but I don't really think there's enough wind on it.
The bit at that end is really quite steep. That might be worth taking a walk up.
I was going up like about 10 meters per minute or something like that, and then rain came. Then I got 100 meters. So that's nothing really.
It's been a great couple of days for Jitka. With nearly 18 kilometres of flying, she stays ahead to be the first woman to complete the course.
I flew off Tarmacan in the morning because I missed the time just by 5 minutes in the evening. That was quite pleasant, and then we walked to here pretty much, and walked all the way to the top. Didn't feel quite confident touring it, and it was nice. Southeasterly, just flew out and landed nearly here, just beside the water.
So success for Jitka and for the inaugural X-Scotia paragliding race. Out of the 27 competitors who started, every single one managed to get airborne and 7 completed the whole course. Jitka Polikova was the fastest woman and came in joint 6th overall. She finished in a time of 31 hours and 58 minutes. For the men, Mark Leyland came in 3rd in 22 hours and 53 minutes. But the 2 way out in front were Paul Myerscough, who completed the course in just 15 hours and 44 minutes, and a bare 2 minutes ahead of him was Steve Nash. And our congratulations to each and every one of them.
First overall and very first X-Scotia champion, Steve Nash.
And now from the air to water as we join Lindsay Cannon on the banks of the River Tay.